Okay, so here we are with Steve Vai, and we're gonna talk about a few things about his latest DVD. You have a new DVD out.
Yes,
I
I
saw
do.
it. It's excellent, and it's
Thank
called
you.
"Where the Wild Things Are."
Yeah.
What I was impressed with is basically the perfection in the execution of
Mm.
the different parts, and I wanted to ask you how you work out the rehearsals
Sure,
for
sure.
that material.
Well, usually when I go to do a project, I kind of give it a blank canvas, in my mind, and then I give myself certain direction. I tell myself, okay, you got to do something that you haven't done before, something that maybe is unique that no one's done, if possible. And there's certain things that I wanted to contain. Primarily, I want to be a good entertainer. An artist goes about putting on their shows and building their shows with those certain criteria in mind. And for me, I want people to feel like they're really seeing fantastic musicianship. Because, whenever you see somebody play an instrument really well, it's fascinating, you know? And I want to give them that. I want to give them the most fascinating type of playing that they can, that we can give. I don't want to beat people up with my musical intellect because it gets boring. It's not an entire night of just playing the guitar. I try to keep it a very accessible musical experience. The thing is my music is just so different than, what you'd expect from anything else. But I can't help it. That's what I do best. And that's what I suggest every musician try to do, is what they do best. And I just discovered that I have a particular ear. So within that process now I got a picture, I got to build it. So I wanted to have this unique band. And I always liked the idea of having violin players in the band. I had a couple other ideas for other incarnations of a band. One was with two percussionists, and maybe another one was with big horn section. But this time I thought it would be appropriate to go with the violin players because I just came off of an orchestra project. But how do I find them? Because once I put the word out, everybody that was coming down was expecting Steve Vai, I'm going to shred, and it just was awful. It was a nightmare because the music has some shredding, but it's also very intense musically. You have to be able to read music if you're for this particular job as a violin player, and you got to understand dynamics. But by the same token, all of the classical violinists that I auditioned were they had no rock and roll sensibilities. Once I turned on my amp, their violin bows just went. So then in walks Alex DePue, and just absolutely blew us away. He really had such a fierce control of the instrument. A really wonderful player and very respectful, very professional. And I felt like I was really blessed when I found him. And then I thought, great, I got the guy. And I kept getting these messages from this girl in the Midwest, and she's like, Steve Vai, I know your music, I like your music, and I play violin, and I want to rock out. And I thought, well, I already got somebody, thank you, and she just kept calling, and I look at pictures of this girl, and she's outstandingly beautiful, and I'm thinking anybody that beautiful can't play the violin. I'm sorry, stupid mentality to think that way. But then I got this tape. She made a custom video for me, and she played the audition piece, which was a very, very difficult violin solo that I composed, Shadows and Sparks. It's a big violin cadenza. And it's not hard because it's fast. It's hard because there's double stops and your intonation has to be perfect. And she just nailed it. I couldn't believe it. When I watched her play, I thought I was just seeing like an angel with a violin because she was just so connected with the instrument and so in tune. And her intonation was just flawless. And she had this very feminine kind of touch. It was aggressive yet in a very soft way, but very powerful. Very contrary to Alex. And I just thought, oh my God, I got to have both of these people in the band, and they complement each other so well, you know, and I love seeing them both up there. I got the devil on one side and the angel on the other, and I'm just like the overlord of purgatory. You know, so I really lucked out, and then that enhanced the vision completely. So now we had to get the music together, and it took 30 days of 12 to 15-hour days, and we worked really hard. Sometimes breaking the stuff down into little, you know, one bar, one note at a time. Sometimes, because the dynamics on some of this stuff swings all over the place. You know, like there's a piece called Angel Food. I mean, the dynamics on that are just off the track, you know, you know, and you have to practice that. You got to feel that stuff. You can't just, you know, sit there and play. So, you know, we have to sit there and just go from the softest that you can hit something to the loudest. You know, it's like you got to play like a Ferrari, you know, 0 to 60 in like a second. You know, so these are the unique things that we worked on that give the band a complete, you know, different sound. And phrasing. When you look at something like Freak Show Excess, the phrasing of all that stuff is completely bizarre. First of all, it's not even natural on a guitar. But I make it natural, you know? And the way that the piece is composed is if you watch all the violins when they're doing all the riffs, every slide, every note is, you know, the articulation of it is worked on really hard, you know? But then what happens is it becomes natural. If you have guys that have the patience and the discipline, and they see the end of the you know, tunnel. And the thing is it's not, you got to be really careful that it doesn't sound like complex music for the sake of being complex, because I can write a ton of that stuff, but it's just boring. You know, at the end of the day, the goal is to have it sound like a piece of music, you know, as opposed to an exercise for your fingers, you know.
Ok, so ho chiesto a Steve come, in vista di questo nuovo DVD live che hanno appena registrato, che si chiama Where the Wild Things Are, come aveva scelto la band, che tipo di prove e che tipo di approccio aveva avuto per questa registrazione. Questo DVD è un concerto molto lungo, sono all'incirca 2 ore e 45 di musica, e praticamente aveva questa visione di avere un violino nella band, quindi aveva trovato questo violinista molto, molto forte. What's the name of the violin player again?
Alex DePew.
Alex DePew. Dopodiché continuava a ricevere dei messaggi da questa ragazza nel Midwest degli Stati Uniti. What's the name of the other violin player?
Anne-Marie Calhoun.
Anne-Marie Calhoun. Di questa violinista che praticamente gli ha fatto continuava a mandare dei video e continuava a insistere che voleva. No, it's actually great. I think it's the way to do this.
It's very Vai.
E praticamente una volta che Steve ha iniziato a vedere questi video che gli mandava quest'altra violinista, è rimasto così impresso che ha voluto avere tutti e due i violinisti nella band, e quindi praticamente hanno iniziato a fare queste prove di 12 o addirittura 15 ore al giorno. You said for 30 days you rehearsed?
30 days, 12 to 15 hours a day.
Sì, all'incirca un mese di prove, dove praticamente hanno iniziato a scomporre la musica di Steve in sezioni molto piccole, una alla volta, anche una misura alla volta, in maniera da ottenere un risultato il più perfetto possibile. E Steve stava inoltre dicendo che è nell'articolazione delle singole frasi che hanno fatto la maggior parte del lavoro, nel capire la dinamica dal pianissimo al fortissimo, e quindi lui è molto soddisfatto di questa band. Very well. This is benissimo. All right. So actually, let's keep talking about the lineup of this DVD.
Okay.